Hi, I'm John Kasrabi, Managing Attorney of the JQK Immigration Law Firm. I'm headquartered in Los Angeles, California, but I accept and handle cases from across the globe. We could do it all, especially a focus of our firm, which is marriage green card cases for couples, either citizens, green card holders who are filing for their spouses overseas, or U.S. citizens applying for their fiancés, as well as other family members as well. But a big focus on marriage cases because that's the favorite kind of situation I love dealing with when handling immigration law cases. As I said, my firm is in Los Angeles. I'm a professor of immigration law as well, currently teaching at Pepperdine Law School. Okay, so let's jump into it. What are we talking about? We're talking about marriage green card cases. This is when you get married, one of the spouses is a U.S. person, a green card holder, a U.S. citizen, have a foreign spouse. Now this is, again, whether it's a case that's starting in the U.S., adjustment of status, or whether they're going to go overseas, consular processing. There's three major things that are always looked at. And now I'm going to go through these three major parts, but just keep in mind, each one breaks down into smaller sections, and on a case-by-case basis, the facts are different, but I just want to give you an understanding of what they're looking for, so let's jump into it. Number one, they're looking to see if the relationship is what they call bona fide. Is this a real relationship, or is this couple faking it? Marriage fraud is a big problem, and they're really trying to keep an eye out and try to deny those kind of cases. So how do they review that? So first of all, the forms related to proving the relationship are Form I-130 and Form I-130A, petition for alien relative, and the biographic information for the foreign spouse. Along with that, you have a long list of evidence you can submit with the case. It could be financial documents, bank statements, insurance statements, someone being a beneficiary of a will, trusts together, all that kind of stuff, as well as travel history. If you have tickets flying together, photos together, letters from family and friends, wedding invitations, all that kind of stuff. Everything you did as a couple to show that it's real, you can include that, document it as part of the relationship. There's also an interview that happens either at the consulate or within the United States in most cases, where they question you about your relationship, and in some rare cases they even do an investigation if there's trust issues involved with the case, if they believe it or not. So it's very important you document this well and be prepared for it. We're not going to go into the processing of how you do consular processing as opposed to adjustment of status, but the idea is the first thing that they're looking at is this relationship real, or is this a fake relationship? Are these people just getting married to get a green card or not? And they look at the documents. Now, you don't usually need to submit all these documents, but the more the better. And a lot of times it depends on the officer that you get. Some will be more strict about it and some more lenient. But you just want to do your best and be the most conservative as you can and try to, get together as much documentation to prove that this is not a fake relationship, it's a real relationship. Okay, the second part. What is the second thing that they look at? This is the background of the foreign applicant. And this breaks down to a lot of subsections. This is complicated, and this is where a lot of the legal stuff where a lawyer comes in becomes important. There's one thing that they do look at for the petitioner, the U.S. person's background, and that's if the person was ever convicted for child abuse in certain types of cases under the Adam Walsh Act. It's a very rare thing to pop up, but we have to review the petitioner's background for that. But really, they're looking at the applicant, the foreign person, to see, is this the kind of person we want even coming to the United States? So, okay, how do they review that? Well, the forms for that are Form I-485 if adjusting status in the United States, or if you're overseas, it's Form DS-260 that you submit with consular processing. And in that, they have a long list of background questions that they're going to go through to see where you were, what you're doing. They do background checks as well. And you have to submit, if you're overseas, police certificates, for example, to one, make sure you don't have criminal history, and if you have some arrest tickets and stuff, what that's about and what documentation you could have. But they also look at inadmissibility issues. And inadmissibility is a technical term that the immigration office uses, or the immigration statutes say, which essentially says these are people who we don't want to come here. So inadmissibility could include health issues, if you have tuberculosis and are contagious, or if you've hurt yourself because of mental conditions and you might hurt somebody else. It's criminal issues. Have you had arrests before? Are you selling drugs, for example? It could be security issues. Have you worked for a group that's associated with terrorism? Have you ever, another thing is false representation. Have you ever lied to an immigration officer in the past? Have you ever overstayed a visa over 6 months, a year, and left the country? There's a myriad of things under INA, Immigration Nationality Act Section 212, that's the inadmissibility statute that breaks down who can and cannot come into the United States. And sometimes, even if you violate these things, waivers are possible depending on what the violation is. But we have to, and that's what happens during our initial consultation is, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what could this person be subject to? We ask questions to try to get to the truth of the matter if there are issues. and think about how we're handled that. So during the consultation, first we go over what your relationship history, so I get a feel for how truthful the couple is and how we could present that to the government. And then secondly, I'm going over the applicant's background to see if they have those kind of inadmissibility issues and how their background looks like, to see will they find a problem with that applicant and will there be issues. So that's the second thing, is the applicant's personal background that they look at. The third thing is finances. So before February 24, 2020, they would just look at the finances of the U.S. person, and this is with Form I-864, Affidavit of Support, where the U.S. person would say, listen, I'm making money or I have a lot of assets, I could take care of my foreign spouse, it's all good, and if need be, we'll get a joint sponsor. If the petitioner, like the husband or the wife in the U.S. doesn't make enough money, we would get a joint petitioner, someone who's willing to sign a document to take the responsibility of the affidavit of support. We're not going to go into what the responsibilities are, but in general, they are signing off on a set of responsibilities. But they've got more stricter on that. One is they're stricter on who the person is that signs the affidavit of support, but they've also added, and this is the more important thing, a new form called Form I-944, Declaration of Self-Sufficiency, if you're adjusting status in the United States, or Form DS-5540 if you're filing for an immigrant visa, green card through the embassy. And this goes into the background of the foreign applicant. Before, they were just trying to see if the U.S. person could afford to take care financially of their spouse, or their joint sponsor could help with that. Now they're like, okay, is the spouse that's coming here able to take care of themselves? And this is a new tricky part that we're dealing with that you have to be very conscious for, and it's really exploded these immigration cases that take twice as long, and a lot more reasons why they can deny the case. Unfortunately, it's a horrible thing that went through. It's very sad, and it's going to lead to a lot of denials of cases. But essentially, they're looking at the background of the foreign person. How is their health? Are they going to come here and go to the hospital? Do they have health insurance? What kind of health insurance do they have? Does it have high deductible? I mean, it's that detailed. It's very annoying. You have to break down and provide them in the I-944 what the details of your health insurance plan are. Do they speak English well? Can they give a test, like a TOEFL exam or something, to show how fluent they are, so if they come here, they can find a job? What's their age? Are they too young or too old to get a job? Or are they middle age? Or how does it look like? How is their educational background? Do they have a degree? Do you have something they could bring to the United States? We got to get degree equivalency. So you might have gotten your degree in a foreign country. We have to get equivalency to show that degree is the same in the U.S., a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, so that they could bring that knowledge here and take care of it. Now it's a totality of the circumstances kind of situation. Look at the big picture of the person's background, including all these things, and make a gut judgment. The immigration officer does. So I can't say for sure this is enough, that's enough, but it's a totality of the situation. Look at it all to approve it or not, to say, is this person who's coming to the United States going to be a public charge? Are taxpayers going to have to support them, or could they make money? Could they add to the economy here and support themselves here? And so this is something we have to look at. It's also we're going to talk about at a consultation towards the end of it, is like, okay, what is going on? What's your future? What's your background? All these kind of stuff to see, is this person going to be able to show that, don't be worried, I'm a foreign person, I'm going to get my green card, I'm going to be making money, I'm going to be taking care of myself. You don't have to worry, the taxpayers' money is not going to be spent on me. So these are important things that the government is instituting. They're newer and they're tougher, and that just is a general overview right there of the three parts looking at. I'll recap again. One is this relationship bona fide? Is this a fake or real relationship? Two, how is the background of the foreign person? Are they someone we want in the United States or not? There's a set of laws that go into that. And third, how are they financially? Can this couple support themselves, or are you worried that they're going to come here and not be able to take care of themselves, and then taxpayers have to pay for their medical bills, food stamps, housing, all that kind of stuff? And so that's the general overview of what a marriage case looks like, and that's what initial consultation is about in my office, where we analyze this stuff. And my goal is to try to pinpoint stuff that could potentially be red flags and think about how can we fix that, make it stronger, or sometimes unfortunately saying it's just not going to happen. This problem is too big right here and we can't overcome it, even with the waiver or forgiveness or whatever. So that's what it's all about. And with a marriage green card case, I'll do another video describing the processes, because it happens differently. So if you're, for example, doing consular processing, at first they're just looking at the relationship that is real, and then later on at the interview stage they're looking at the finances and the person's background. Whereas if you're doing it in the United States, they're looking at all three of these at one time. So it's different ways this goes about, but at the end of the day, they're going to look at all of it, and you should prepare it all from the very beginning so there's no surprises. Thank you so much for listening. If you're interested in learning more and scheduling a consultation, there are fees for the consultation, but just email me and describe the immigration issue that you have, and we'll set up a time, either half an hour, hour, or longer, a consultation to make sure you get all the information you need to make a qualified decision about the future of your case. Thank you so much for listening. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi of the JQK Immigration Law Firm. Have a great one.